Welcome back to the Office Marketing Podcast with Mike Swigert, the podcast all about sales tips, mindset, and value bombs. 5 questions to help make your day more productive and learn a thing or two. Here is your host, best-selling author, Mike Swigert.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for taking time out of your day and listening to the Office Marketing Podcast. I've got a really fun, innovative, creative creator. His name's Jeff Carlson. Jeff had the brainchild to create My Resource Library. And as a principal in My Resource Library, if you could listen to our pre-call, he has a ever-evolving solution for the interior office space. He is, it's really fun and exciting. And I hope he's going to share some really great ideas with us today. Jeff, thanks for taking time out of your day to talk to us.
Mike, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeff, you and I met, we were trying to do the math, probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I remember sitting there, and I guess maybe because we have a swimming connection, and I thought, this guy is literally recognizing a problem, and he's actually implementing and creating a solution. And you really impressed me. And I'm so glad that we reconnect. And I'm so glad we get to share your story today. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and by the way, anybody that's listening, it's not me that's the swimmer, it's my daughter, but at least I can talk to Mike about swimming. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm, in shape or anything. You bring up a very interesting point. I just want to touch upon that for a second. One of the things that does make My Resource Library and myself a little bit more unique is the years that we've been in the contract furniture industry. So my grandfather started a rep group in 52. My dad's an independent rep. My brother's an independent rep. My mom owned a library service where she was going around and updating design firms and dealers back in the day. I met my wife on a cold call at an interior design firm when I was working as a rep for my family business. And so with all of our history in the industry, what I'm trying to figure out is, why does it have to be so complex? And how can we make it easier for people in this day and age when technology is so amazing? How can we make it easier and faster for people to actually get the information that they want? So that's kind of how My Resource Library really came about. So I just felt like that was the right time to bring that up, Mike.
No, it's good. Well, what's great is, and you and I have seen it, we've been around long enough. What is it? There's someone that says, I think it was Les Brown said, if you want to find the greatest fortunes in all the world, go to the cemetery, because most people take the greatest ideas to their grave. Yes. And what's amazing about you is you actually had a vision, you recognize a problem, and you implemented, and you've actually created an amazing, amazing resource. I've personally used it. I've personally seen it in action. All right, talk to us. For people that don't know about My Resource Library, because some people that are listening may not be in the commercial furniture space, but talk to us about one, what was your vision and what does it really do?
All right. So it started 9 years ago as a replacement to the physical library. When I was an independent rep and I was working again as a national sales manager, a big trend came about that the binders that are in the libraries are not being updated. Or if they were being updated, what was happening is somebody was going in with a fresh new binder, taking the old one off the shelf, putting the fresh one on, and then throwing away the other binder without even looking to see whether it was out of date or not out of date. Then the realization of, well, if somebody came in 5 minutes after I updated that binder and took a piece out of it, it could be months before I was back to update that binder as well. So the old way of doing things just wasn't efficient anymore. And so I was trying to find a way to actually create those efficiencies by just replacing the physical library. I mean, we've heard for years that everybody wanted to get away from binders and they wanted to get more technology savvy in our industry, but yet there was still the mass printing of 3-ring binders that was going on. So we literally took on that. Then we evolved into one of the best search engines for the commercial furniture industry. We put all of that together, helping dealers and designers and reps find products faster. We've implemented the project tool, which allows dealers and design firms to send to their clients information very quickly and easily via a link versus attachments. And so we're constantly evolving the way things are going. I hope that answered your question.
Well, here's the thing is, it's your first language, but there's some people listening, it might be their second language. So I hate to say dumb it down, but like, I remember the first time I did a presentation with a large client, and we went into the, what sort of was a library, and we had maybe a 60-inch or 75-inch screen. And I was in awe because the designer I was working with on the project understood my research library very well. And all of a sudden, anybody listening, you can imagine like a bookshelf, a virtual bookshelf, but you literally just start clicking, and it was so smooth. And I kind of was geeking out on the technology, Jeff. And I remember this client being like, "Oh my gosh, this is great." And instead of pulling out, 80 binders, which probably, took 500 trees to make, it was literally just click and pull, click and pull. Oh, you want to see task chairs? Okay, well, let's look at these 5 manufacturers. And that was 5 years ago, Jeff, 6 years ago. I can only imagine, and that was on, old networks and things like that. And you're constantly improving and getting better. So if anybody's listening, you can imagine pulling up a virtual bookshelf, but then it actually being better than the real thing. And that's so rare. And you did it. You did a great job, Jeff. You really did.
And especially when it's on those big 70-inch TVs, it actually looks bigger than the actual library if you have a physical library, which is really impressive.
Yeah.
And yes, that was the way we started. We started showing PDF brochures of all the products. We then listened to our user base, said, "Hey, we don't want pictures, we want images." We put in images, and then we still kept the brochures and the pricing, and you have everything all in one place. And that's the really important thing is, instead of going website to website to website or remembering manufacturers' websites, URLs or bookmarking pages, this gives you the ability to be exposed to over 400 manufacturers, all of their information, all of their images, all their pricing, all the things that you need, all in one website. So you're not jumping from site to site. It's saving you time, and it's basically saving you energy.
So, hey, Jeff, so when it comes to pricing, like if a client was in like a, say, 300 to 450 price range for a task chair, like, can I pull things up based on that now?
You can't yet.
Okay.
We are looking into ways of doing that. And the reason is because we're focused on list price.
Okay.
And everybody's looking at net pricing. We don't factor in discounting. We don't factor in all of the complexities of that side of the industry.
Right.
But we are looking into a rating scale that will allow you to filter the library.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Almost like a star level. Cause I mean, there's nothing worse than, a client falling in love with an embodied chair with a fold up chair budget,
Yes. Yeah. There's definitely nothing worse than that.
I know. And if that's probably one of my, surprisingly, it's one of my favorite chairs. If anybody knows, Herman Miller makes this really cool chair, and it almost looks like a prehistoric monster up the back. And it's quite a piece, but it is not a budget chair. Can we say that? Would that be politically correct? It's not a budget chair.
No.
I think
those are not the ones that you're going to find at the $100, $300 price range.
No.
In fact, another chair in Arizona, just as a side note, that's something you'll find funny, and maybe some of your listeners will too. I work out of a house in my neighborhood. So we own a second house in the neighborhood. I use it as an office. Nobody lives here. I just couldn't work from my actual home. So I came over here. It's a half-mile commute. Traffic is horrible, and I do drive. But the other day, we have what's called bulk trash pickup, where it's once a month. You can put whatever you want out by the curb, and the trash company comes and will take it away. Well, I was driving to work the other day and saw a leap chair sitting on the curb of this house, and I literally went out and took a picture of it because I thought that's something you don't see every day, where you're talking about the embodied chair. It's pretty much the exact same price point.
Yeah.
You're looking at $800 or so. you don't see those just sitting by the curb, being disposed of in a very unique way. So I thought that was really funny, and just we're in a new world now, Mike.
Well,
New
yeah,
world.
I'm with you 100%. I had some Zodies from years ago, and we kind of
Yep.
had the same thing. But instead of just putting them out for bulk, I had these 2 Zodies that they just came out of a job, and it just didn't fit some renovations we had done here at the house. And my wife was like, "You need to get rid of those." And I said, "You know what? If we put them out by the mailbox, I'm pretty sure someone's just going to come by and take them." Sure enough,
Yep.
I didn't even see who took them. They were just gone. I'm like, well, someone got 2 really nice chairs, and they probably don't even know what they have, but they're nice chairs. All
Yeah.
right, let's get back on this. So
Yep.
you and I could probably tangentify task seating for a really long time. So, hey, let's go on. So, like, how are people utilizing My Resource Library today? And maybe even like the impact of the shutdowns last year, how did that impact you guys? I'm guessing it was positive. I don't want to lead you too much, but, talk to us. How is My Resource Library being utilized today?
So we have jumped in users from the when COVID really started. We jumped up in users. We're a little over 84,000 users now. Last year, when we were doing kind of the analytics of the overall library, we were experiencing a little over 3,400 logins a day is our average. After COVID, that number is up to over 6,000. So we're averaging over 6,000 people logging in every day. How are people using it? Again, they're using it for the search engine is the number one thing. We experience a little over 160,000 searches every day, or I'm sorry, every month on My Resource Library. They use it for the project tool. They're getting very creative. We've heard from feedback from dealers across the country that they're winning projects with the design community by using the project tool.
All right,
I'm not sure how.
Again, talk to us.
Yep.
What are they liking about the project tool? And excuse my ignorance, I haven't seen it in a couple of years. So tell me what are you getting out of the project tool?
So with the project tool, you can add anything from a binder into kind of creating your own board, as it were. So you're basically creating a project inside of My Resource Library where you can drag any images from any binder into it. You can also drag information from your computer. So if you've got a quote, or if you've got an overview, or if you've got a PowerPoint presentation, you could drag all of those things into a project on My Resource Library. Then what it does is it creates a link that actually you send to your client. They click on it. They don't have access to the overall library. They don't have access to anything except the information that you sent them. And so we're seeing a lot more firms using it now because you can't get in front of a client anymore. So you can't go and deliver them a presentation. And clients don't want to get a whole bunch of emails with a whole bunch of attachments. That slows down their computer. So this is a way for you to send them an enormous amount of information, including videos, anything. We actually have one firm over in San Diego that shared with me. They created a video of themselves presenting a product, uploaded it into the project, grabbed all the images of the product to put it with it, and sent it off to a client as, here's the product that I'm recommending for your project. The designer just loved it, and they sent me the feedback, and it was incredible. And it's an easy way for people to actually work with inside of My Resource Library. We then launched Transaction Accelerator, which is e-commerce as a service. So a lot of the dealers have been working with standards programs for years. We actually have a way that they can build an online resource for those standards programs where here's a link, go to it, pick the products that you want. It orders it automatically through the business system at the dealership level. So you don't even have to touch it. And it really drives up margins. It really helps the dealers kind of become more efficient. And it takes away from that one salesperson that has to run over, especially in Atlanta where you're from, Mike, the traffic is horrible. Okay. So imagine going from Buckhead to downtown every day just to actually show somebody an image of a chair that's on their standards program, or taking a chair down and saying, what finish do you want? They could do all of that online. It's more of an Amazon experience.
And can you embed their discounting and everything through that?
Yeah, the dealer sets it up so it's got the right pricing and it's exclusive to that standards program.
This episode of the Office Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Fusion Advisory. We help commercial contractors generate leads online profitably. Check us out at fusion-advisory.com.
What do I have to be? So if I'm a dealer, I need to be a user of my resource library. But once I'm there, is there another level that you do to be able to get that service?
Yeah, so we call it a pro level or pro dealer level.
Okay.
You do have to sign up for that, and that's basically depends on the size of your dealership and the number of locations that you have and so forth. We also have pro design. That is 100% free for all of the A&D firms that are out there. It's a free upgrade that gives you access to pretty much everything that we just talked about, the projects, the enhanced search, gives you, unlimited library, whatever binders you want in your library.
Jeff, whoa. You can't just throw that in. Jeff, this is pretty powerful because we got a lot of designers that listen to the podcast, right? So a designer can have access to a limited piece of my resource library, or what can designers see?
So if a designer just goes to my resource library and logs in as a free account, they get the free Atmos. They get, I think there's 400 manufacturers that are on the library now. They can go through all of those binders. It'll show them who their local reps are. It'll give them the information. It'll give them the pricing and the brochures and everything else. But when they go to do a search, it's very limited as to how far it'll dive down into the search engine. We call that a pro feature. It's a pro enhancement. For the design firms, any A&D firms that are out there, it's a free upgrade for them to upgrade to the pro version. All they have to do is tell us the manufacturers they want in their library. We build them a custom library. They can do all the enhanced searches, and they have the ability of doing projects.
Oh, it's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love the fact, and anybody listening, because you kind of know, and Jeff and I talked about it on the pre-call, like getting the content and data into a searchable format. I mean, I don't know, are you in like terabytes or what? I can only imagine how much content you have.
Some people asked us a long time ago to do an app for the iPad. The amount of data would fill multiple iPads up, but also you'd have to update it every half hour. We are constantly updating the library.
Yeah.
It's not like we do updates once a week. I have an entire team of people led by Samantha Gindi on my team. That's all they do is update the binders all day long.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, because as someone who sold, I won't name the manufacturers that I sold, but they're all in your books. Thank you for updating the books. That's very nice to you. I think anybody who's ever touched a project thanks you for doing that, because you're holding the entire industry accountable through your platform, and it's very powerful. Thank you for all that, because I guess there's a quick ship solution too. Like if I just had a project that was on a quick ship, there is a way just to sort of just find quick ship solutions, correct?
That's correct.
How do you do that? Like,
so if you're working on GSA or quick ship,
okay.
If you're a designer, you can click on the button. It's a filter. It just says show me only quick ship. It does away with every binder or every product in the binder that does not have quick ship.
Wow. You many times, because I was in lighting and furniture, and on the lighting world, do you know how many times I got calls from PM saying like, hey, this is a fast track project. They need to be in 6 weeks, or they need to be in 8 weeks, or it's a spec suite. They're taking another 10,000 feet over here. What do you got? How fast can you have it? That's brilliant. I love that, Jeff.
And then we've integrated with 2 very powerful spec engines. So we've integrated with CET Designer, which is what all the aligned dealers are using for design and for renderings. And then we've also integrated with Project Matrix, which is the spec tools that dealers are using for doing quotes and all that fun stuff. So we've integrated with 2 of the best partners in the industry, so that you literally can just, if you're looking on my resource library, you can also filter, show me only anything that has CET, and you can actually take the file, drag it from my resource library and put it directly into a project. So you don't even have to download the product anymore from any website. So
yeah, I'm kind of geeking out, because regularly I was a guy, because I am I'm a sales guy. I am a enterprise sales guy. That's what I did. I was always thinking about the vision. When it came to getting granular, I kind of knew it, but you're basically making it less stressful for me to think about getting involved with a specification. So you're really taking a lot of the, I don't know, you're kind of pulling back the curtain on Oz a little bit, making it a little bit easier. I like it, Jeff. Really well done.
That's our entire mission, is to remove complexity by making things easy.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, how, so are you, I hate to ask this question, but like, how are we touching other industries? Cause the furniture industry, I'm sure appreciates you and loves you. And it's an amazing, I don't know, $50 billion industry, and I'm probably low. Right. But like, what other industries are you spreading out into? What are we touching into other areas? Obviously some, maybe acoustics, maybe some walls, maybe things like that. What's going on, Jeff?
So we're moving into architectural products. We're moving into flooring. We're moving into textiles. We're putting together a couple of programs for them that are very unique in the fact that one of the challenges that we've heard is, when you want to order a sample from, like, say, a textile company, you have to go to each individual website to order the samples. There is another company out there that does fulfill like that, but we wanted to make things super easy on My Resource Library without disrupting the way that the textile companies work. So our goal is to put a shopping cart onto My Resource Library by the end of second quarter. So we're coming upon that pretty quickly. This year is just flying by.
No kidding.
But by the end of the second quarter, you'll be able to put products into a shopping cart on My Resource Library. It will then parse it directly to all the manufacturers that you're ordering from. You'll immediately get an email back saying, these are the samples you ordered. They'll get an email saying, this is what you've ordered, and then they'll fulfill it through there so that you get taken care of as a client.
I love it. I feel like whether you're a furniture rep, dealer, a designer, what great solutions you have. I'm excited to hear how you sort of expand out and the tentacles start going in, because you and I both know once you get a tentacle in there, the flooring industry is going to grab you and eat you up. Like,
yes,
because it's going to be driven by the designers. The designers want that. They don't, I don't think they really want to talk to 6 different reps to try to specify something. The concept of doing it all through My Resource Library is really powerful. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And especially in this day and age, like right now, we're hearing from a lot of reps and that they're getting emails from the design firm principals saying, please stop mailing things to my designers at their homes. And with everybody kind of working differently now, it's really a panic from manufacturers and reps is, how do I get in front of somebody that doesn't want me to mail them anything? And I can't just go knock on their door and say, hey, do you have time for a quick presentation in your own home? So My Resource Library is a natural move in that direction to really help them by creating those projects, sending them a link instead of an email with hundreds of attachments. And you could send an enormous amount of information that way.
Good. Well, you know what? I almost feel I'd be remiss if I didn't say, by the way, My Resource Library is not paying anything to be on this podcast. I'm just a huge fan of what you do. Like, I know I'm totally geeking out. I'm super impressed with everything you're doing. It's such a powerful solution for the industry. And it's fun watching it evolve. I can only imagine, 5 years from now, you're going to get your My Resource Library VR goggles and you're going to put them on, and then you guys are going to plug in. I'm sure you've already had that conversation with someone, but we're not that far away, are we?
No, we had actually Newcraft on My Resource Library had a lot of augmented reality information into their binder. It was really kind of cool because we are computer based. We're not cell phone based and so forth yet. But one of the things you could do is if you saw a conference table that you liked and you wanted to see what that would look like in the room, you could literally scan your computer with your phone and then put it using Simply Augmented. You could put it into a space. It was really cool. I'm not a big fan of the goggles because I get all dizzy inside of those, but at the same time, you're not very far from doing a lot more of the specifications onto My Resource Library.
Yeah. Well, I think you and I can talk about it forever,
but
I want to get into a little bit more about you. Why don't you tell us something that not everybody knows about Jeff Carlson? What you got?
You know what? This is when you sent me over the list of questions, Mike, that was the one that scared me the most.
Sure.
And I'll tell you why. I am so transparent. I mean, everybody that follows me on social media knows that I like drinking Jack Daniels. They know I like to play golf. They know I like to work hard, and they know I travel a lot. One of the things that I would say that most people don't know about me, especially when you meet me and see me, I really like being alone. Like, I really, truly am most comfortable just sitting down in my house, reading or watching a book or watching a movie, or, just being relaxed and by myself. But I am such a social person that most people wouldn't, they would see a conflict there. But I am really at peace when I am just kind of by myself and in my mind, and gives me time to think, and it gives me time to process.
That's good. That's good. You got to know how to recharge. I mean, I'm sure we could go through a Myers-Briggs Enneagram disc assessment, and one of those guys would go, "Oh, this is why," because you're an extrovert with a heavy intro, and they're going to find you're a 3 or whatever you are. And they're going to look back and go, "Jeff, it's just okay. You just got to recharge them batteries,
Yes.
And at 6'5", you got some big old batteries to recharge.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'm carrying a lot of extra weight. So
no. It's just, you'll grow into it. Let's talk about mindset. You and I talked a little bit about this beforehand, with all the shutdowns last year, with a lot of people, because we can't interact and we can't communicate and really get those oxytocin connections. What do you do to keep your energy so positive?
It's really interesting. Before COVID started, I took transcendental meditation. I went and learned how to do meditation. I highly recommend it, by the way. It is phenomenal. And I meditate twice a day. And it really helps me kind of get my focus back. But as far as with what's happened with COVID, a lot of people are done with Zoom meetings. A lot of people are frustrated. A lot of people are it's very unique the way that you're seeing people getting together now. And you still have a whole bunch of people that are afraid still to get together, even with the vaccines and everything else that are coming out there. So I think the way that I stay focused is by realizing that tomorrow will happen. It was very interesting. I was, I don't really talk religion, but yesterday I was at church because, obviously Easter.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2 days ago I was at church. And, the message from our church was that it wasn't a new normal. It was new. It wasn't that, Jesus Christ died and was resurrected or whatever else. He didn't come back to give us the normal. He came back to give us the new. And I think that a lot of people need to remember that the normal was going great. And by the way, we shut down one of the most amazing economies in the lifetime. But what's new, and that's really exciting for me, is that there is something that's new and it's coming, and we need to embrace it versus, just trying to force ourselves to get back to normal.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a really positive way to wrap this up. Jeff, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, what would be the best way to get in touch with Jeff Carlson?
Well, LinkedIn is usually the easiest. I spend about 3 hours a day on LinkedIn. But you could also, so I'm under just Jeff Carlson at My Resource Library. My email is jeff@myresourcelibrary.com. They can email me there. I'm pretty easy to find on most social media platforms except for Facebook. I do not use Facebook at all. But I am on Instagram as the My Resource Library Principal, or MRL Principal.
Okay.
I'm very accessible. People can reach out to me any of those platforms. I'd be happy to take their call and talk to them, especially anybody that really has an idea and thinks that it should be a company. I love meeting with people and encouraging them to pursue their dreams, because I tell you, I am not a smart guy. I'm not an overeducated guy. I left college my senior year to actually go peddle Jack Daniels here in the state of Arizona. I literally came up with the idea of My Resource Library. I've had other ideas previously, and I didn't do anything about those. This just happened to fit, and we launched the program, and it has been one of my biggest joys of my life. And I strongly encourage others to follow those dreams.
I love it. I love it. Well, you know what? One of the joys of my day has been connecting with you, Jeff. It really, you've been, you really are a blast. I can't wait until we see each other on the golf course. Hopefully it's this summer, and we'll have a good time, and perhaps we'll have a nip of the sour mash with us, and golf clubs in hand. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Office Marketing Podcast. Be sure to join the conversation on our YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Facebook pages. If you enjoyed the episode, head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.